Hey, what's up guys? It's Sherry here from Build and Wonder, and in this video I'm going to show you how to turn one rough idea into reusable AI content workflow. Okay, and I know that most content problems, they're not about ideas, but the problem is the ideas are scattered everywhere. For example, in my case, I have them saved in notes, voice memo, Instagram reel, and screenshots. And all these ideas they're scattered, but the only thing that I'm missing is a workflow. So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I'm organizing all my content from idea to pillar, right? Addressing pain point, hook, draft, human edit, repurposing, putting into a calendar, and the result. I'm going to show you the workflow, the simple AI assisted workflow that I use for my business. And also keep in mind that this is not a content calendar that I'm showing you, but instead I'm showing you a repeatable system for creating, repurposing, and tracking your content for your business. Okay, so here we have the dashboard. So this is the control center. It shows the whole workflow in one place. And the goal is to really stop starting from scratch every time. And you see here, we have different stages of ideas, as I showed you here before with the main flow. These numbers come from the tabs. So in here, you have a whole dashboard of seeing your whole process. And also, what is your priority for this week? And for example, in my case, I'm gonna film and publish one video for content workflow demo. And then how many posts are scheduled for this week and how many are published, and any DMs or lead generated from all these content. So this is the overview of my content workflow. And next, let's jump into the content pillars. This really keeps all the content focused. And as you can see here, these are the content pillars that related to my business. Each idea connects to a main theme. Okay, for example, AI workflow, business pain point, build in public, offer, and demo. This really stops me from posting random content, and all my contents are relevant because it all revolve around these content pillars that I have for my business. And next we have the idea bank. This tab to keep track of all your raw ideas. For example, this is idea number 1. Why did I stop writing content from scratch every week? Nothing gets lost. Every idea gets a source, audience pain, pillar, as we talked about earlier, and goal and status. This is where a random thought becomes something usable. We will use all these raw ideas to generate content from there. Next, this is, if not one of the most important tabs in this spreadsheet, is the prompt library. So these are all the AI prompts that helps move idea through the workflows. So from here, you can see that from idea generation, hooks, drafts, repurposing, human voice edit, all these prompts are over here, and you will be able to copy and paste them into the AI tools that you will be using. In this case, you don't need to rewrite prompts from scratch every time because it's saved in this tab. For example, I realized I don't need more content ideas, I need a content workflow. So to walk it through how to use this system, the raw idea will go to idea bank, right? You will document the idea that you have in this idea bank. And then we will address all these, like, what is the audience pain, right? For example, it's very scattered content. And which pillar does this belong to? It belongs to, for example, AI workflow education. And what is the goal? The goal is to build trust and explain the problem. This idea has a direction, and we will use that for content. Now let's go to another tab. It's called Hook Lab. And every content, every post that you generate, you will need a hook to get the action first for the first few seconds of the content, right? So in this case, this is where I test different angles. I don't use the first AI answer. I compare the hook option. For example, in this case, in the raw idea that I have, you see I have hook option 1, option 2, like option 1 to 5. I'll choose one out of them all to see which one really gets the most attention. And some example hook would be like, your content problem might not be discipline, it might be a workflow problem, okay? And most businesses, they don't need more AI tools. They need a content workflow, okay? More content ideas will not help if you do not have a system to use them. Okay, these are the hook that we generated, and you remember which one I used at the beginning? So the next tab we have is the draft builder. This can be a LinkedIn post, right? For example, YouTube talking points, Instagram captions, or email ideas. And for now, I'm focusing on LinkedIn and YouTube. AI helps me to structure the draft faster, and I document them here. So the next tab we have is human voice edit, okay? So we utilize AI. Most likely, they're not gonna sound like us. And so I'm gonna train the AI tool to sound like me, right? We do have a prompt for this. This step makes the content sound more natural. AI drafts can sound too generic, and this is where I make it clear, more specific, and make it more like my own voice. The goal here is to be useful and human, but not perfect. So you see here, we have different column here. This is the AI draft, and then here is the human edited version, and what has changed. Does it still sound generic, and what is the final version? And the following tab is Repurposing Matrix. Most of the content, one of your content that go viral, for example, you would want to repurpose that because it generated you some watch time and you would want to repurpose that content. For example, it might do even better, right? So this is where one idea has become multiple assets. And you see here we have LinkedIn posts, YouTube, Instagram, even email news. We are going to repurpose this content into different platforms. And this saves so much time because I'm not creating everything from zero. We already have a draft. Followed by that, we have a content calendar. So in this case, you see here we have the date, we have the platform where we're posting it to, and the content title. So this content calendar really keep tracks of your content, and also this turns the idea into a publishing plan. And I can see the platform, the format, dates, CTA, call to action, and the status. And maybe some of them are planned, drafted, edited, scheduled, or posted. This makes the content execution very clear for yourself. The result tracker is really for performance. For example, this post that I just created in LinkedIn. So how many views did I get from there, right? And likes, comment, saves, share, profile visit, how many DMs did I got from the reel or the content, right? How many calls did I book from that content? Okay, so this really tells me what actually worked. I track views, comment, saves, DM, profile visits, calls, and leads. And this point, it's not just creating content. And the point of this is to learn what creates business conversations, okay? Now coming back to the full workflow, and this is the big picture. Idea, pillar, pain point, hook, draft, human edit, repurpose, calendar, and result. So AI supports the whole process. The workflow keeps everything organized, and the content is the first example, right? The same idea can later be applied to lead follow-up or client onboarding, okay? So really the main idea is very simple. You will turn one rough idea into this whole content workflow, and AI is really useful when it's connected to a real process. This content workflow helps turn scattered idea into organized and reusable, trackable content. So I'll keep testing this and improving as I use it. Right now, this is the format that I've been using for my business, and I really hope that it will help you too.